Jesus to the tomb, and he makes this prophetic statement. He calls into the tomb, Lazarus, come forth. Now he cannot walk out because the people have prepared him for death. And I'm preaching to you right now. Be careful of the people that you run with, that they're not preparing you for death when you got life on your mind. They have mummified Lazarus. They have mummified him, and they've wrapped him up and put him in the tomb. And Lazarus is in the tomb for 4 days, and evidently he's not stinking. Phagocytosis has not kicked in. Phagocytosis is the concept of decomposition, to begin to rot away. He's not rotting. He's not stinking. Phagocytosis hasn't kicked in. He's not decomposing, but he's waiting on resurrection. Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth. And Lazarus did not walk out because they got him mummified. So he hops out. And he is, according to geology, and I had the privilege to go over there to Jerusalem, he's 55 steps below sea level. So when Jesus calls him out, Lazarus has to come up from where he was, because in the tomb, he's in the tomb and he's down. And so he hops up 55 steps. Can't walk, but he's coming out. Can't walk, but he's coming out. Heartbroken, but he's coming out. Disappointed, but he's coming out. Divorced, coming out. Lost child, but coming out. Unemployed, but coming out. He hops out, which means what you put me in can't hold me back when Jesus calls my name. Let me say it again. Which means what you put me in can't hold me back when Jesus calls my name. And he called his name Lazarus, and he hopped up 55 steps below sea level. He hopped out, and then Jesus looked at the crowd and said, now loose him and let him go. He could have spoke to the bandages too, but he didn't. He said, I am the resurrection power. I'm not the clothing department. I'm preaching better than you saying amen. I'm not here to make you think holiness is a clothing store. Now you loose him because you dressed him. You loose him because you bound him. Take off those grave clothes, because when the resurrection shows up, things come back to life. Am I preaching to anybody here? That's why in this glorious day, Lazarus pops up out of the tomb. They take off the grave clothes. Later on, the next chapter, Lazarus, the resurrected Lazarus, comes to dinner in the very next chapter. This is not Jesus resurrected yet. Jesus hadn't died yet. Lord, I wish I could finish preaching. He hadn't even died yet. He's telling you, I've got resurrection power even before I die. He's resurrecting other people. You remember Jairus' daughter was sick on the way to the grave of Lazarus. And so in the next chapter, Lazarus is there having dinner. By the time you get to Jesus being crucified and being buried, this is where the world should stop and pause. Because out of all the religions in the world, every one you can think of, none of them have been crucified. Buddha hasn't been crucified. Hare Krishna hasn't been crucified. Zoroaster hasn't been crucified. No religious icon, no religious idol that's being worshipped has been crucified. None. Much less come back from the dead and then come back with keys. Oh, I wish I could preach it like he didn't just come back and say, woo, I'm glad I made it back. He got keys. He said, now ain't nobody getting in here and ain't nobody coming out but by me. I am the resurrection. And now we're living lives that are gloriously unpredictable, because you don't know what God's got for you.